Okay, I am so excited. Thank you, Crescent, for joining me to share a little bit about your experience of the last coaching group that I
Yeah.
did. It's when it was still the artist space. So I've changed things up for this next time around. So it's called the Reconnect, but very similar to what you just went through. And I'm so excited to get to reconnect with you because it's been what, like a month now.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I know, I miss our Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I wanted to hear from you and have you share a little bit about, why you joined the coaching program and just, have people listen to your story.
Okay. Yeah. So it was funny. I had so my friend Megan texted me and she knows you through her network
Mhm.
and in Texas. And it was
No, actually, we met in Mexico.
oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. When she was at that hotel. Yeah.
Then we ran into each other in a parking lot in
Yeah.
Texas. I was like, hey, you're that girl from Mexico. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, small world, right?
Yeah. And you have
Mhm.
I think lots of overlap too, right?
We
Like
do.
like
Tons.
friends and people,
Yeah.
So anyway, so I had the night before I got her text message inviting me to join her with you in the group. I had been telling my husband, I was like, God, I just don't feel like I'm having any fun. And I feel like I'm really
Oh,
stuck and I'm not really sure even what, I don't even know what I need, I just sort of
yeah.
and then that next morning I woke up because you all are 2 hours ahead of us and in Seattle. And I got her text and she was like, hey, I know this cool woman. She's doing this group. I thought of you. I thought maybe you'd want to join me with it. Check out the details. It's going to be kind of like your bedtime schedule. I don't know what it is with kids, but just see if it might work for you. And I was like, well, that is wild. Megan and I have been best friends forever, but we don't normally do stuff like that. This is the first time we've done something like that together,
Right.
we do yoga or something when we're together physically, visiting, but not.
Right.
Anyway, so I was like, well, that's cool. She thought of me, okay. And so I looked into it a little bit and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is kind of just what I was saying I needed. And so I was sort of tentative because I was like, right now I just feel really slammed with I'm doing a little consulting and I've got the kids. And I was just like, I don't know if I have the time to make this time for myself. How's that going to work? And so I texted you and you were like, oh yeah, it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be completely, I kind of was looking for that out of well, maybe this isn't the thing. Right. And so you were like, oh no, you got right back to me and you were like, you can read the book. You can not read the book. You can join the meetings. If you can't join the meetings, just, do you. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't really not do it. It sounds like it can it'll work. So I talked to my husband and he was like, yeah, let's prioritize that for you. It sounds like,
oh, I
sounds great. Anyway, so it was great. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it felt initially, and I was like, I just don't know how I'm going to do this. It's just too much.
I love that you're bringing this up because I
from?
literally just had somebody say that to me.
And I'm
and
not
I'm
working right now. And I was like, I'm just at capacity. I'm working a little, but not full time like I have been in the past. Anyway, I was like, I just don't know. Yeah. And then
it's so interesting. That's such a great point because I have people, I just had several people say to me oh, I just really don't see how I could fit that in or or how I could make the time. And what I said was, it's surprising because it just rejigs everything.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Was that your
a problem at
experience
all.
or am I just, was that just mine?
No, that's my perspective too. It wasn't even a problem. Once I got in the flow of it, it was oh yeah, of course I can make Tuesday evenings after dinner work. We have an hour there that, anyway, and my husband was supportive and that, made a difference with bedtimes and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't any big deal. It just felt like I didn't have that time to prioritize myself. And then I was artist dates, I don't know, can we do 2 hours a week? And now I'm if I don't get it, I'm it's only 2 hours. What the hell? Where are we missing here?
Well, and it's so funny because it's really about and it's interesting because the people that I attract have always been women, and they're almost always 3 different types. They're very, very busy moms, which you are. They're women that did not have children and are kind of at a crossroads in career stuff, which is very much Megan, right? And then empty nesters.
Yeah.
So those artist dates are different because they'll go crazy with the classes and all the different things. And then the moms are getting a 15-minute artist date. Do the best you can. Yeah. And that's what's so great is that it really is however you need it to be. And if you are somebody that has never or has not recently prioritized yourself, just that little, just 1 hour to do a call every Tuesday. Sometimes that's it. Sometimes that's all that it's going to be. The journaling isn't going to happen. The artist dates aren't going to happen, but it's better than it was before you started the program, right?
Totally. And part of my feelings of being sort of stuck and cranky about it was that I have been somebody who's been able to prioritize themselves in the past, and it doesn't feel like I was
It
getting
feels
that
like shit.
now, right? Like I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure how to get it. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
sure how to get back there. So that was
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And I love, like, that what you pointed out about your husband. Because I think that, like, we just assume
hmm
as women that, like, that support's not there.
hmm
And it really doesn't give our partners, like, any space to contribute to us.
Yeah. hmm
And, like, how much richer is the relationship when it is that where, like, you're giving and he's giving, and but I mean, I'm curious about, like, how that shifted in your relationship.
Well, I just really, yeah, I really appreciate it. He felt good, and I think I could tell it made him feel good to give that time to me and to like protect that time for me, and encourage me that way. He surprised me. Like I remember I didn't read ahead, and all of a sudden I got the like chapter. It was like on a Monday, the no screens week, or the detail, like
Oh
the
yeah.
digital, right? And I was like, well, shoot, we watch like shows at night after the
No,
kids go to bed for an hour. Like that's
we
our
do too.
hangout time. And I was like, oh, I probably should have prepped him for this. He's probably not going to be into that, like whatever. And so I told him, I was like, hey, so no screens for the week. And he was like, oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. And I was like, oh, and it was great. Like it really gave me so much appreciation for like, I always think like, well, that's the thing, that's his thing, right? Like we do that
Yeah.
for like whatever. And so it gave me some more like, oh no, we both are active in these choices. And like, we both are, I
Mm.
also have the space to like change it up or whatever. So it was great.
I love what you just said. You said we are both active in these choices.
Yeah.
There's somebody that, like, I just, so, and you also see like what's possible for somebody. And like, there are people that I have in mind for like this next program. And there's a woman in particular that, like, I just, like, we met in Greece. I'm like, one day she will be in one of my programs. And like, she's just, that's there for her too. And I also know that her husband is in 2 bands
Hmm.
and like didn't check
Busy.
with her. And I'm like, what the fuck? People like what, like,
Yeah.
and men do that so frequently, and then
Yeah.
we don't.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so great, like when we take a stand for ourselves and say, like, actually, like, I'm feeling over here like Groundhog Day
hmm
and it's not working. And you can't like being married to me like this.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Because
Yeah.
Derek always says that. And he's like, when you don't take care of yourself is no fun for
Totally.
me.
No fun for anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, please go fix that.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because, I know this and you've shared with me some of the stuff, but I'm curious about what you got out of the 3 months that we were together.
Yeah, I think, initially I felt pretty stuck.
Mm,
And I was sort of surprised by that. And like, whoa,
mm.
like we would do some exercises around like, what is fun? What would you do if you could do? And I was like, I have no idea. I was
Right. I had the
pretty
same experience.
stuck. So by the end of our time together, I could like make a big list, I could come up with
Yeah.
a lot of ideas. Like I felt a lot more open. Like it just kind of flowed.
Mhm,
So a lot more creativity on my side, just from a like what is possible kind of standpoint.
mhm.
And then I would say also just more fun, like but like recognizing that I need to be mindful about that. Like life is going to just happen, and it's my like engaging in it in a different way that's going to make the difference, right? Like, so it's not like we talked about when I was packing for a
I was
trip.
like, please tell the story.
Yeah. And I
I
like,
love
rather
stories.
than
So like,
like
tell the
white
story.
knuckling packing for 3 kids for like a multiple adventures, week or whatever for spring break, I was like, and I usually do it and I'd like it, but it feels like a lot of work. And I just was like, I didn't have time for my artist date that weekend. I was like, well, what if I made packing like a fun thing? Like, what if I made that my
Oh,
artist date? And like, I kind of felt
mhm.
pressure to do it because otherwise I was going to miss my artist date. And so I like turned on the music and I just approached it in like a completely different way. And it
Yeah.
was fun and everything got packed and I didn't stress out about it. And anyway, it was great. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should do this more. And so I've been doing that more. I've been like actively been like, okay, what if this is a mini artist day right now? And
Mm,
instead of I'm just like cleaning the house, what if I'm turning on music and I'm picking some flowers and I'm putting a bouquet in the kitchen when I'm doing the dish, like just like
yeah.
you know, like it's the same stuff, but with a totally different mindset.
So I love that you reference that because, in the last week, so in this next iteration, I'm not using the Artist Way, the book, but I will be. But a lot of times, like people don't resonate with with the artist part of their creativity. So I've just cut the book out. And also, like, let's face it, most people don't read that book anyway. And I end up just doing the recaps. But I love what she says in the last chapter. It's like, spoiler alert.
I know.
Is that your whole life is an artist date, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I love that that's actually it. That's all I'm ever teaching.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm ever reminding myself too, is that like doing the dishes can be an artist date.
Yep.
So I love that because I think so frequently and I'm guilty of this as well, is that like when I've been in coaching programs, I'm looking for this like, and then the lights turned on and it's like, no, actually, it's like really subtle. And it's small. And it's like those moments that you recognize that you can shift your perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been great. And it also kind of gave me the permission that like, I needed to like enjoy myself a little bit more, like treat myself a little bit more, like, pamper myself a little bit more. Like that.
Okay, so how do you do that? Because I really like want people to listen to this and be like, oh, I didn't even like, so how do you treat yourself and how do you pamper yourself?
Well, so like yesterday I had like a meeting and I was wrapping up this phase of a project and a contract I was going through, and we were talking about next steps to get another one started. And I was like, always with like the first phase, I was like, I don't know, are they gonna like it? Like, do they want me more? And so they do, they want me more. And yay. And so I was like, I'm going to go like on my way to pick up the kids. I'm going to get a boba tea and I'm going to open my sunroof and I'm going to like have a little celebration for myself to feel good about like, that's great. Like I did good, and as opposed to being like, okay, cool. That's it. Like I got it or whatever. And like moving on to the next, like it was not even a bunch of time or anything, but I just was like, I'm going to have a little treat. I'm going to have a little icy, cool, sweet drink. And I'm going to go, like have pick up be kind of a little party for myself. Like it was great.
I love
just like
that.
Such a silly thing, right? But like, things like I had
everything.
a 6-year-old iPhone. This was when we were like working, and it was that week that it was like the week about like treating yourself. And I had this janky phone, and that I just was like, well, I'm not working right now. I don't really justify like getting a new phone because like, this one's fine. Like, but it was 6 years since I gotten one. And I was like, I'm just going to swing in during that like time. I'm just going to swing in and see, like, I bet I probably am like really due for like some sort of like credit to a new phone. And I got myself an iPhone 14 Pro with like no cash spent because I had so many dollars saved up to like, it was $0, like whatever. Like it didn't affect my monthly payment all because I'd have been forever, but I wouldn't have even gone in there. I didn't even feel like justified in checking it out until I was like, I don't need a shitty phone. Like I'm fortunate to not have to have that. Like, and I don't. I take pictures. I love it. Like it's silly, but so there's big things and little things, right? Like,
right. And it really is like those deposits into yourself, those like treats for yourself, keep you going. And I think really contribute to like doing the hard things like better, easier, possible. You're like even entertain it. Whereas before you might be like, slugging along or begrudgingly. And that's why, I talk so much about synchronicity. And of course, like the next morning after you say that to your husband, like Megan texts you, right? No accidents. Yeah. You think that you might be due for a new phone and you go in and you are, and here's
like, you should get this really good phone because my God, when was the last time you got a phone? Like,
but like, it's just about like shifting yourself to be a priority. And then I also think, especially with my clients that have children, like then what the example that you are for your kids.
Totally.
That like they're a priority. Like I find myself listening. So we have kids about the same age, right? Like yours is 4, mine's 3. And I find myself paying attention to Jack in a totally different way when I'm coaching, because I can see, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I think that he wants to have all these kids over to play. And what he really wants to do is be inside watching Peppa Pig. Because what I noticed, I was like, oh, he's completely overwhelmed. And he doesn't know how to be with all of this excitement. He's tired. Whereas in the past, I would have been like, come on, Jack. like we have all these friends over and da 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 da. And now I'm like, Jack, are you kind of overwhelmed and just like want to be by yourself for a little while? And he's like, yeah. And so then he just goes and does that. And it's like, I
Yeah.
don't make him wrong about it.
Yeah.
So I think it, as I give myself space, I like give, everyone in our family more space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So one last question. I'm curious about the group dynamic because like you came on, you knew Megan,
Mhm.
you did not know me.
Mhm.
And what was that like?
So I think for me, one of the big takeaways, I mean, certainly there were valuable conversations and like insights in each of our meetings, but I also for both the like larger group and then the second sort of setup I had, we had a couple calls
Mhm,
in this like smaller group. And I
mhm.
think for me, the other thing that was really valuable was, I have felt like there's something wrong with me for being kind of stuck or not having as
Oh,
much fun,
yeah.
or like I'm not working right now, as I don't have a job, like I'm not doing anything interesting. I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, taking care of kids right now. And like I feel really great. Like big picture, I'm really thankful to have those choices. And those are definite choices I've made. But like in the day in, day out, sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if I feel bored, it's because I'm boring right now, or whatever. And so meeting these incredible women or just hearing, I mean, we didn't really meet everybody, but like hearing these incredible women's stories, and like people are artists, people are, business people, like there's in a really
Mhm.
impressive group of people doing impressive and cool things and still struggling with these same things, right? And that was really
Mhm.
like, as much as I wish
Oh, I have chill.
everybody
I have
wasn't
chills everywhere. I'm
struggling,
like, yeah.
like one of the people in my mini group was like a hypnotist and like a professional, like plays in a professional like Houston symphony. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, and not, I'm like, Jesus, if you like, we're having the same feelings here. Like I'm doing the pickup and, stoked on a boba tea, like randomly, like, whoa, and so it was really good for me. I felt it was like actually kind of like a mature, like a sort of a check-in on maturity around like this idea
Mhm.
of like, that I am somehow different or have different, you know what I mean? Like it was just, I don't know, I'm not probably articulating it well, but it was
No, it's
great to
great.
see other folks who I was like, wow, on paper, these individuals are living these lives that I would assume were
Yeah.
super interesting and dynamic and,
Yeah.
living their dreams. And
Yeah.
everybody struggles with this stuff sometimes.
Yeah. I think that like what I love about the group dynamic is that like you just see like our humanity.
Yes, yes.
And it's not unique to you. Like
Mhm,
we all struggle with the same like feelings of being bored and then being boring and and like all
mhm.
of that. And there are different seasons of our life,
Totally. Hmm.
and I've said this in a coaching video I know that I did recently, like the only problem that ever exists is your resistance to how it is.
Hmm.
I just met somebody at a wellness event in Austin who has stage 4 or stage 5, which I don't even know that there was a stage 5 breast cancer.
Oh God.
And she's like, and I don't even like to tell people that because they like see it as a problem and I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, so I don't go to cancer groups and I don't really have a community because like I don't really fit because I don't want to be sad about it.
Wow.
And it was just amazing. And like, I don't relate to her that way. And I found out very late in the conversation. And then I was like, wow. And I've constantly checked myself that like, I don't relate to her that way.
Right.
Like, then I listened to her like this incredible, like, she's actually a realtor in Austin. I
Yeah.
should introduce her to Megan.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just really, really cool. And she's like in Costa Rica and doing all these really cool things. And like, that is just one piece of her.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, the drop off and pick up and all that stuff, like that's right now. It won't always be that way, right? Like me cleaning up like poop everywhere and
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just right
exactly.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
Oh,
much
you're
for
so welcome.
sharing.
Thank you.
Um,
It met me right where I needed to be. And it was just such a
mhm,
good refresh as far as like just how I think about things and how I'm showing up in my day to day for myself. And it was great.
mhm. I love that. Well, I'm just going to tell everybody you can find out more about my next coaching program on my website, annakmorris.com. It's called The Reconnect, and we start June 6th. So I'm going to stop recording and then Crescent, let's hang on and I will say goodbye to you. Okay. Bye, everyone.